Right. And welcome back to another episode of Brilliantly Resilient Live, sort of. With Facebook being clogged, with everybody being on these days during this incredibly, I have typed the word unprecedented more times in the past 3 weeks in my emails and stuff online than I have, I think, in my entire life. So during this unprecedented time, all of you all are on Facebook communicating, sharing, if you're like me, sharing very funny TikToks, some of them that I've made with my dogs, to my kids' very big upsetment that I'm on TikTok.
But this all translates into why we aren't going live right now, even though that was a side detour.
But wasn't it fun? Don't you like taking off on the plane with me and wondering if we're ever going to land?
Where we're ever going to land it. So we are not live, but we are recording, and we are bringing you a wonderful guest today.
Yes, this is Mike Provenzano, as I have to say it that way to get it right. And the funny part is we have met through, I think, every social media channel and never in real life. But I also think that maybe we live 5 minutes from each other.
Probably. You're probably right.
I think from the stuff that I saw that we are in towns next door to each other, but I only know you from social media channels, which is, I guess that is the way of the world these days. So social distancing doesn't really mean anything to us because we only have our online relationship. But I thought that it was so cool. So I watch all the different things that Mike does. And I thought the coolest thing was that I'm thinking, all right, you're an actor and voiceover artist and all that stuff. How does that look when the world shuts down and you can't be in a room recording? And then no sooner am I thinking about that, you pop up with a show on, is it only on Instagram or is it on multiple platforms?
It's on Instagram and it's on Facebook as well.
Okay.
And I don't think we put it on YouTube yet, but it's on those two.
Okay. So let's start in the middle because I'm always backwards like that. And I think that it presses some buttons in Mary Fran's brain. So I'm always up
for that.
As she sighs. Do you know, we used to have the headset microphones that really picked up the talking. I'm like, we have to get off of these because you could hear Mary Fran sighing at me constantly when I would back over the audio. Yes, that's what she would do. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'd text her when we had a guest on. I'm like, stop sighing at me. I won't say what she would text back. Anyway, but so I want people to just get it in their minds. Like you're an actor and you do all of these things where you have to be around a lot of people. Did you freak out like some of us when you had to hit the reset, or you didn't even probably have an idea of how to reset at first?
Well, I think the one thing for actors is that we're in reset mode all the time because we go from working to not working, to working, to not working, to not working, to working. And that's kind of what we do. And so having to stop, you don't want to have to stop as an actor, but there's times where you do. So the cool thing was that actors want to continue to create or be creative. And so what I found was that, the project that you saw, one of my friends decided to start writing, and she wrote about 10 episodes, and I got lucky enough to be in the first couple of them, and it was just a blast, so it was cool to use technology to be able to share and bring a little bit of joy to others during this crazy time that we're doing.
So these were shows, this was a show that's not, I have to confess I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure heck going to after this is done. But so this is a show that was done at a distance. You were not, filming or anything. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so we were using Instagram's recording mechanism for those. And it's a little challenging from an audio perspective. So, but it was a lot of fun. She wrote a script, she wrote a lot of scripts, and we rehearsed just like we would do on set, and then we hit record and we started recording, and we did it a bunch of times. And she has an editor who actually took all of it and put it together, and then she lit it. And so we did that. I did 2 episodes with her, and I think I've got another one coming in a couple weeks. But after that, I was like, man, that was a lot of fun. How do I keep doing that? So a buddy of mine and I decided to to do one, but we decided to use Zoom's platform instead. So last week we did one, and it was basically poking fun at actors trying to use Zoom technology
It was
for the first
hilarious.
time.
That's what I said to Mary Fran. We got to get Mike on here because it's what everybody's doing right now. Like, I'm like, how do people not know how to work Zoom? Like the one woman, now you guys wrote all this, right? She's like in her bathrobe and you guys are like, oh my God, like we can see you. But that was all written?
None of that was written. I mean, the one thing is, if you're a writer, that's one thing. And the other episodes were definitely written. But this one was, we came up with a concept or an idea, and we just let each person run with whatever their idea was going to be. So
it was improv.
It was improv, but she came up with the idea.
It was
acting, correct? Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't real.
It was so funny.
But each person came up with their own what their problem with using Zoom was, and that was the fun part. And this morning we did another one, but we reduced it, and this one is more of a scene versus a poking fun at Zoom. So we're editing it right now, and we may have another one coming, so we'll see. But the cool thing is technology, and I'm a tech guy. I have a tech background, so I enjoy using technology to either help people or, in this case, try to bring a little bit of joy to people. So I've went from, man, what are we going to do, to let's continue to create. So after the last one we created, I went and reached out to one of the people that was in last week's and said, hey, why don't we do something together individually? Mm-hmm. So we're developing an online film festival right now. And so basically, instead of the traditional film festivals, a lot of people that attend film festivals literally attend them, and they watch whatever a panel of judges voted for. Where what we're doing is we're allowing anyone that has a film that's 12 minutes or less to be a part of our festival, and then everything is going to be on our website, and you'll be able to click on whatever program you want to watch and view it. And after you've had a chance to do that, you then get to vote on your favorites. So,
wow. What a great idea.
That sounds way more appealing to me personally, of attending a film festival, to be able to do it in the comfort of my own home. Like, I can't fathom sometimes everyone going out and then all having to sit, they watch one after the other together kind of thing. I think this sounds really cool.
And the cool thing is we're going to use Zoom's platform, we'll probably end up using Zoom's platform for a night of, let's go 30 days out or whatever time frame we set, because we're not finalized yet, but we're going to have the top 5 favorites. We're going to view those live, and then we're going to have a live Q&A virtually with the cast and crew of each of those 5 favorites.
That is so fun. That's like allowing the community to be part of Sundance or something like that, like in a mini format. That is so cool. You have to make sure that you share all this info and links and everything on our Facebook community page.
Absolutely.
Definitely need to.
Can anybody submit? Is anyone submitting, and then are you guys like going through them, or are you going to put them all up there?
They're all going up, and we have some requirements. It can't be like porn, obviously.
That was my next question.
Mary Fran, make sure you note that.
That was my next question. That kind of leaves the door way too wide open there, Mike. You might have to close it just a little.
Well, we set a standard. It's got to be 12 minutes or less, because when we view the day of, we have to keep people's attention.
Yeah.
And it's got to be semi-clean. It doesn't, I don't care about cursing and stuff, but it's got to be within reason. That's all. And
no full frontals.
Nope. And the thing we decided was correct. No full frontals. Was that whatever goes up, we're not going to have a judging panel on our end to view them all. We're going to let everyone in the world do that on their own. So we're going to basically, you have to sign in or register onto our site. And then once you do that, you'll have the ability to vote. Now, because I'm creating the website, I still have to figure out how to do all that, but I have a little bit.
It's just such a great idea.
It's so good. Okay,
oh my gosh.
Wait. Now we know your brilliance. Let's back up, because that really is brilliant. And I do love that it makes perfect sense that you say that actors are always creating and creatives are always creating. But I got to tell you, when you're talking about that one thing being improv, my Mitchell, who's 16, and I were just talking the other night about improv. I'm like, you should probably take improv classes. He loves coming up with stuff on the fly, and he's very smart, and he can remember and react. And then there's me, like improv for me, my stomach started to tighten up for that.
Your whole stream of speaking is improv. Are you kidding me? Are you going to tell us you can't?
I mean, when you have to,
You beat me to
I
it.
have
That's
a good
exactly where I was
one-man
going.
show. I have the one-man show that goes on
That's
up
true.
here. It's when you think about the Zoom screen full of people, which is what this episode was, and they all had to react to each other. That's where I'm like, oh my God.
That is challenging.
But watching you talk about it, your face is lighting up. Like, that is so enjoyable for you. So now it makes a little more sense that you've got 4 kids in your house while you're trying to do all this stuff. And you're always reacting to stuff, I guess. But has it always been, you're just wired that way?
Well, no, I got into the acting business about 4 years ago, or almost 4 years ago. And if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I would have said no way, because I never felt that I was comfortable on camera. And I know when I was younger, I wasn't comfortable on camera. I was one of those shyer guys when I was younger. And now's the time for me to be doing this. And I did take some improv classes because I was even nervous about doing improv. And now it doesn't phase you. Once you do something for a while, you get more comfortable at it, like everything else. And that's kind of what happened with me with this.
Has it always been something that you've wanted to do? Because sometimes I feel like, you're drawn to something, even though you don't feel like you're good at it, or, you're just, there's this kind of push and pull. Like, I really, really want to do this, but I think I'll suck at it. But I really, really want to do this. And then once you allow yourself and you, again, open that door, you kind of find, okay, maybe you weren't great at it, but it is a natural thing for you. So was it like a natural fit when you finally jumped into this?
When I jumped in, and this is something I wanted to do when I was in my 20s, but I didn't have the confidence or the life experiences that I have today. And so when you go on your first audition, you're like, you have no idea what they expect you to do. You have no clue, because you haven't been, you've never been through it. So, you have your sweaty armpits and your butterflies are going crazy in your stomach and you're nervous as all hell. And that's natural, I think. And I dealt with that for a while, and now it's, I feel comfortable when I walk in. I'm like, I have no qualms about being on camera. I have no issues talking to camera or any of that stuff, but it does take time to get comfortable doing that. And, a lot of my friends are like, man, you look like you're just natural at it. And I'm like, it's because I'm comfortable now, and that did take some time. There's no doubt.
So you only got into this 4 years ago. What were you doing before acting?
I was in the technology world all of my life. I worked for a computer reseller way back when, and I was worked for a rental company that did. Originally, we rented computers, and then we started renting audiovisual equipment and staging and all that stuff, and then we started doing webcasts. I enjoy technology, but it was time for a break, and this was just. This I kind of fell into this. I was working for a buddy of mine, helping him clean up his computer systems, and he had a design firm that was part of his company. And one of the guys that worked for him was an acting instructor, and he said, "Hey, you should check this school out." And I swear, I said, "Are you blowing smoke up my ass?" And he goes, "No, for real." I swear. And I went to an open call with about 50 people, and the director looked around, and of course, I was the oldest guy there. Director looks around and says, "We're going to invite 4 of you to our school." And I happened to be one of them. So I made the cut, and I attended the school and got signed with an agency the day I graduated, and then from that class. And it's, I have a bunch of agents now, and I'm having a blast. I really am.
That's a while. And you say it like, yeah, I went from working at one store at the mall to the other. It's all the same thing. You were completely different.
Trust me, it's there's a lot of this in this business. And when I first got into it, I had and this was probably in 2018, I had a really good first quarter. I felt really good. I mean, I didn't make a lot of money, but I felt good because I did a lot of work. I had a lot of projects. I made some decent money. And then April hit and it stopped. Like complete for 2 weeks, I had no auditions, I had no work, I had nothing. And I was in that panic mode of, oh my God, did I make the right decision getting into this? And you second guess it. And then like I started bitching to a buddy of mine, and as soon as I started bitching, work started to show up. It was pretty cool. So my friend Rich and I have this thing
where, is that the key? Let me I gotta think about
it works. We started complaining about stuff, and as soon as we started complaining to each other, work started showing up. So you
were singing Mary Fran's song, because she's always like, don't bring on any woo-woos. I know, woo, put your arms out in the universe and it comes. She's like, that's not how it works. And you're like, you're just singing what she wants to do. Now she's going to just continue.
Now you have given me a free pass to complain.
That's right. But it really, it's a, for me, I enjoy it. And I have a blast, but I like to help people, and part of the reason why I'm doing all these things that I'm involved with now is, we're all going through a crazy time right now with isolation and quarantines. And for me, I had two goals in anything I'm involved with creating. It's anybody that's in the industry that wants to be creative and be involved, love to have them. And the second thing was to bring some form of joy to people that are viewing. And that was it. I only had two simple goals, and that's all my goals are with regards to what's going on right now. And if we can create something that's funny or even dramatic for that matter, but it brings joy to somebody because they're able to forget about everything that's going on for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it might be, then we achieved our goals.
You're saying things that Kristen and I have found are the things that are resonating, and it's the through line with almost everybody that we're talking to. People have a certain value system, and you're declaring what yours is, that you want to share with people and help people and bring them joy. And when people operate on the basis of their value system, really cool things happen. And you're living proof of that with the stuff that you're creating and that you're putting out there to the world. So it's interesting to me that we keep hearing this over and over from people, that they hook into what their values are, and that sort of gives them this, it's almost like the light goes on. They're like, oh yeah, let's do this because it relates to what I really feel inside. And that's so cool.
It is. And it's just, it's a joy. And like, I never take credit for anything. So all this stuff that we're working on, the first one that I was involved with, the Instagram series, that was, hey, I got lucky to be one of the actors involved. And then, my buddy Rich and I started talking. He goes, hey, let's do one. And the one we did last week, he's like, oh, let's do it this afternoon. I go, oh, wait a minute. We got to talk to some people. We got to have a little bit of an idea.
That's me and Kristen. I'm like, well, wait, we have to have a plan. We have to. And she's like, no, let's just do it. And here we are.
Yep. So we waited 24 hours and we did it the next day, which was fine. But, we came up with the idea. Rich came up with a few like hysterical parts to it. He did all the editing for it, which I didn't even realize he could do that much editing. So the film festival isn't my idea. It was something I asked somebody else what they wanted to do together, and she came up with a film festival idea. So we're working on it together. So it's the fun part is we're collaborating, and everybody's involved with staying occupied, not focusing on what's going on in the negative, but bringing what their skill set is to the table, and we're all having a blast doing it.
Oh, you are speaking our language.
I know. We're like, man, I don't know. We've said it so many times, even though I drive Mary Fran crazy with being woo. I'm like, if we didn't have this and talking to somebody every day, well, plus every single person that's come on the show, I'm trying to help other people and serve, and it's really serving me the most because all the strategies and stuff that I'm learning to stay out of the pit that I would be afraid I would probably be in had I not had all this and all the fun that we're having along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that whole building that tribe idea. And when everybody brings their brilliance to the table, and like you can just create these amazing things. And I feel like, what you also said before was you didn't know that your buddy had that skill. This is the other thing that we talk about. Like there are so many things that many of us we kind of know how to do, but maybe it's not at the forefront of our skill set or whatever. But then when the occasion arises to use it, you find like, hey, I remember how to do this. And then you implement it, and all of a sudden you got a new skill set there.
Excuse
God
me.
bless you.
I acted that out. I was timing
That was
one.
acting?
Yeah.
That was good. That was impressive
I'm
because I
gonna do
believed
that
it.
to make her stop talking. I'm just gonna act like I'm sneezing, and then
It worked.
This
Look.
is what I'm dealing with
yes,
every day.
it was perfect. See, we actually called each other yesterday, me and Mike. I was like, look, when I give you the signal, I can't take it anymore.
You sneeze and she'll shut up.
There you go.
Anyway, getting back
Fine.
on track.
You talk now.
Wait, I wanted to make sure that I pointed out one thing. I think from not knowing you hardly at all, other than watching your work and your social media channels, I see as one of your biggest values, correct me if I'm wrong, is being in gratitude, because that's what I see in your posts. Like when you send stuff out about, oh, I did this before this, everything shut down, or even in the stuff that you're involved in now, it's all, your posts are all based in gratitude. You're just so grateful for the opportunity, and you're sharing it with people to kind of share the joy, as opposed to, look at me, I got this going on. It's just a really cool, maybe that's why I connected and have followed your stuff, because it really is, it's the way that we're wired also. And I think that coming from that place is why you're seeing so much success and having all these people drawn to you that have their brilliance and your missions going further. It's really cool to see.
Well, thanks. And the one thing that most of my friends know about me is I'm humble. I don't take credit for things at all. I don't talk about stuff that I do. It's more about, because any project that I'm involved with, and I've said this from day one, I feel blessed that I actually get to do this. I really do. And it's not something that, like I said, I would have ever imagined myself doing 5 years, 10 years ago. Even though it was something I want to do when I was younger, I just wouldn't have envisioned that I would be able to. So for me to get the opportunity to just audition for somebody, I feel that's a blessing, right? And but then to get hired, it's really cool. And I've had some opportunities that they said, you were our only choice, and I was like, I was kind of flabbergasted. I was like, wow. You don't think of it that way, and you don't look at yourself that way. But it's, I feel blessed that I get to do this. I'll give you a quick. Last year I did, or about a year and a half ago, I did a short called Unclaimed Remains. And even this morning, it's still receiving awards, and it's hit 81 nominations already around the world.
Gosh.
And it's just crazy. So the director calls me up last November, and I'm like, uh-oh, I wonder what's going on, because he doesn't call me. And he said, I just want to call you and tell you won a Best Supporting Actor award for this out in one of the film festivals out in LA. And I was like, really? And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't see that coming. And all it did was tell me that I got into this at the right time. For me to be recognized and this film to be recognized is just incredible. But to get that just like, not even a pat on the back or anything to me, it was more, all right, someone else is acknowledging that what you're doing is the right thing.
Validation, validation should not be underestimated. It really is important. I mean, we live in the world that we live in, and it is nice to be validated for that. I mean, even if you're operating from a place of selflessness and joy personally, it is nice to see that it's affecting other people in some way, because then you're hitting the mark. Then you're kind of on track with what you're being told internally to do.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have a big goal. I have a big goal of being a principal on the Hallmark Channel. That's one of my goals that
oh my gosh, I could so see you being in that. Yeah. I could totally see that. That would be perfect.
That's a goal for myself.
Well, it's in the universe now. Now complain about it for about 3 weeks.
Complain about it.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. I will. You know what? I haven't complained about that. Maybe I should complain.
Mary Fran will add it to her complaint list.
I will.
Complain on your behalf.
Look, I'm writing it down right now. Put it on my list.
Nice.
So how did your family cope with all of this? With all of a sudden, Dad's an actor.
Well, my kids love it. They think it's a blast. Our youngest is 8, and he did a short film with me last year at the Richboro Library. And a buddy of mine is a director, and he did he was teaching teenagers how to become filmmakers. And he asked me if I would be the actor for him. I'm like, sure. Can I bring my kid? And he goes, yeah, I got a part for both of you. And Ethan was just it was so cool to watch him, like, just, he was a natural at it. And he's got that outgoing personality. If you remember 8 is Enough, and the youngest kid, Nicholas, with the hair, he kind of has that, he's kind of got that kind of hair. It's long, and he's a cute kid, but he's very outgoing. And I remember him saying, I remember we were rehearsing the lines. He's like, "Dad, I got my lines." I'm like, "Okay." and the night before, I was like, "Hey, you're going to be on camera, and there's going to be a bunch of people watching you, and lights, and blah, blah, blah." And he was like a little bit nervous. But as soon as we walked into the library, it was like he was in his element. It was really cool to watch. It was fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so tell everybody where they can find you and find all of this amazing stuff. And I know we're going to be posting your stuff on our community page, but prior to we get to your film festival and all that, where can people find you?
Well, the easiest is my website is www.mikeprov, and that's prov.com. But all of my social media, it's all the same. It's all Mike A. Provenzano is my name for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all that stuff. So I can be found on any of those channels, but all of them, just look up Mike A. Provenzano. Try to keep it simple.
Sounds good.
Thank goodness for that. Well, it was really cool to finally be able to have a conversation as opposed to typing everything.
Yes, I agree.
When does the film fest, when does that open? When's that launching?
Our plan is to try to launch it this weekend. I've got a little bit of work since I'm doing the website, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm pretty close. I'm having a struggle with the voting part. So once I get that part done, then we're gonna just announce it to the world, and hopefully we get some films to drop in, and we'll add them as we receive them.
Well, let me know as soon as it's ready, and then we can. I'll share it out, and then I'll text Mary Fran and say, "Could you go on Facebook and here's what you do?" That's how her social media works.
I'm her
social media director.
She does all that stuff, and I just go share.
Although you have been doing Instagram stories lately, which is very
I'm just reposting the stuff that you're sending to me.
Girlfriend, you are in there and you're doing something. We are very proud. We are very proud. I'm going to complain about it more so it'll keep happening. We'll complain.
Complaining
for us. It's very good. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Mike. Everybody go check Mike's stuff out. We will send everything everywhere as soon as this film fest is ready. 12 minutes or less. I love it because it's even shorter than a TED Talk because I can't even sit and watch that.
I was going to say, your attention span, this is right up your alley, boy. Right up your alley.
Hey now. I'm still, look, the hair is falling out every day. I don't even know where my jeans are, but I'm here, aren't I?
We got 12 minutes. We can do this.
That's right.
All right. Thanks so much, Mike.
Thanks Mike.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next time.